John Frost looked on the gathered crowd, now 3,000 strong. With heavy heart, his voice rang loud as he sang this loveless song. God is a guide from field, from wave, from plough, from anvil, and from loom. We come our country's rights to save and speak a tyrant faction's doom. We raise the watchword liberty. We will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. And bobbies took an oath to be our nation's warders, swearing that they would enforce Sir Robert's Rules of Order. To Newport rose a million friends who rallied each supporter to join this flood of working men against Robert's Rules of Order. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. Like this, on the steps of Parliament, John Frost stood proud and tall. A hush fell on this great event as he told them one and all, depose the gentry and the crown, depose the House of Lords, or join the Queen in exile by Robert's Rules of Order. So Chartists, Luddites, Communists, recall each faithful martyr who died so you could have your new world Robert's Rules of Order. Say it loud, vote your favor, shout it high. All in favor, you say aye. Favor, aye, favor. Aye. A mandate of the people's cry. Favor, aye, favor. Aye. Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed, you say nay. Opposed, opposed. The motion carries anyway. As currents change and bring to us our tear-corrupted warder, in chains subdued and ill-abused, he's left with no supporters. Mobility's will can then proceed by our own rules of order, and we'll all cheer for country's sake when Robert's drawn and quartered. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament shall be reborn with Robert's Rules of Order!
Oh, the one thing we need to get you still, the one thing we need to get you still is a better camera. Your laptop camera is not good.
Well, it was working fine earlier.
It's always been kind of fuzzy. The laptop cameras aren't very good, but the sound's much better. So we're getting there. You're supposed to say some wisecrack comment like, "Oh, I look better this way."
Well, we know I have a face made for Braille. I mean, come on.
Oh, boy. Okay, JJ's here, so I guess we can get started. My hair's getting so out of control. It's grown so long, so I can't find anyone who can cut it properly. I don't like having my hair this long.
The pink is fading a little bit, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does that. Yeah. But I like my hair here. Yeah. It's like 6 inches longer than I like it, and it's really, really annoying me.
That's not what she said.
Yeah. Hold on. We don't have that's not what she said.
I even broke my little bit of old time's sake, the organic beer.
All right, so to explain to if there's any new folks, please hit subscribe.
No, JJ, we're not using pinking shears.
Yeah, oh, that'd be funny. So, for... That was so dainty. So, for the new persons here, please hit subscribe. I did an announcement on my main channel today, but we're only streaming on this channel now, and it would be great to get to a point where we could have super chats and things like that. But this is such a niche content. It probably not going to happen. But as we get more subscribers, we'll start announcing our Patreon, because that would be the best way to support us. And your camera got a little better. No, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, all of a sudden, you got crisper. You got crispier. Okay, and Richard is here. So yes, the gang's all here. The autistic gang is all here. All right, so we have an upgrade this show because I actually put the questions onto like slides, but I probably misspelled like a million words because I didn't have my glasses on when I was typing. So it might be a bit fugly, but it'll help people follow along. Plus, some of these questions, and I don't have my glasses on now, so me even looking at like the answer key, I'm going to be like this. I forgot to bring them down. It's just one of those hectic days. But we are going off of the 11th edition because that's what this sample test we have is keyed off of. But the current edition is the 12th. And we have two helpful parliamentarians in chat who will tell us when there's, in the very rare cases, that there's a difference. When are you taking your test again? I keep forgetting.
I have now booked the test, but I haven't done the system check yet for 4 weeks from today.
Oh, okay. So, and I know you're doing studying on your own.
End of this testing window. Yeah, this gets me in the end of this testing window.
Okay.
Don't tell Hahnemann about the typos, though. You'll come in and claim you're trying to cause conflict.
I'm zipping it. I've had enough nap controversy for a while that I am just laying low. And then I made a really dumb comment on the forum. I like read something wrong, and Dan came along and was like, what restrictions or whatever? I'm like, I read my question again. I'm like, excuse me, that was a dumb question. I'll just go back to reading silently because it really was a dumb question. Once I read it again, I'm like, was I high? Would I type that? I don't know. I haven't really been at the forum in a while. Maybe there'll be interesting questions there at some point in the future. We can discuss.
There hasn't been too many lately, but there hasn't been too many there lately that have been interesting. But Hahnemann still being a sanctimonious, you know what?
Well, you and I can have an offline discussion. You already know some of my disillusionment. I'm kind of an open book. You know, I used to be pretty eager beaver about all of this stuff and advancing and all of that. I am really, really soured on it right now. And it's not just because of the one situation you're aware of, which has been resolved, as you're also aware of. But to me, in a completely, and we're not going to ever talk about it publicly. I'm just not going to do that. No. So this is all illusions. It was just an encounter I had with the National Association of Parliamentarians that I think was really handled badly and complete amateur hour. It made the LP look like professionals, and that should be telling you something, because half the shit that goes on in the LP is amateur hour. It was handled completely just wrong as far as I'm concerned, and way to discourage new people coming into the field and the profession and evangelizing for it. But I'll probably get over it. But I have to be honest with you, my enthusiasm is really dampened. But it's not just that. There's something else that I'll tell you privately that's really just made me feel real dirty, kind of like when there's aspects of politics that do that as well. So I could probably get over it, because being in politics, I obviously have to get over aspects of it that I think are really, really dirty. But just some things have come to light that I'm not very happy about. And I know this was all really, really cryptic for the viewers. But anyway, we're going to
I guess. Too, so.
I'm sorry?
It's cryptic to me too.
Well, half of it was. The other half wasn't. Anyway, it's not cryptic to JJ. I've discussed all this with JJ. Anyway, so we're going to go to the first question, I guess, right? Unless we have anything else intro to start with. We're doing it early today because I've got some training I have to do later this night. Okay. Let's see. Well, let me put the question up, but I'm also going to try to put us on the screen at the same time. So I got to do a little tech work at the same time, but you can read the question. I'll read it out loud, but you can read it on the screen, hopefully. Let's see if this works, because I am trying to get our camera images. So this, and now it's me and me, but I need to make this one you. So let's Yay! Look what I did. Okay, so I need to.
No longer seeing double.
Yeah. So, and I need to put a different. Let me see if I can do that right now, because you have a nice little border on yours, and I can too. It's just color. Where's the color picker? It's black, and that's not showing up very well on.
It's visible, but barely.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bright. So let me. I want to do this gradient. I want more of towards like that Robert's goldish color. No, that's right. That's good.
Keep going.
Maybe more this way.
That's more orange.
And that's very bright. But it's more towards the green yellow is what it is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's good. We're going to leave it at that for right now. I can fix it later. Okay, so now we both have
close enough.
a nice border. Okay, so let's look at this thing. Which of the following can be applied to a main motion? Lay on the table, A. B. Call for... I'm sorry? What?
Super glue.
Oh. B. Call for orders of the day.
Super glue.
C. Recess. D. Appeal. And E. Superglue. No. So there are your options. And yeah, I'm glad Richard likes it. I'm trying to get a little bit more fancy here on these questions. And now that I figured out, there's a few things I needed to figure out, but this background thing, whatever. I have a new Photoshop. It's a long story. Me making templates right now. I have to learn a new version. But I'll start to do stuff like this for shows because I think it helps people. So, you want to talk through your figuring out the answer?
We're talking a main motion here, and it's applied to it, which means that would alter it or change it or therefore do something else with it. Calling for the orders of the day is out of order when a motion is pending, so that's not the case for B. You technically could move for a recess, but it's not in good form, and it doesn't apply to the main motion. That's more of applying to the business of the assembly. So no, you can't appeal a main motion because nothing's happened yet. So the answer is definitely A, lay on the table.
It is definitely A, lay on the table. I would agree with you. I don't even need to look, but let me look just to make sure because we've both been wrong before. It's definitely A. But what might be confusing to some people is D. Because we had this discussion before where we were, I forgot how it worked, but when it was raising a point of order, is that a motion?
It is, but it's not applied to the main motion.
Well, I think it kind of is. I think an appeal, well, I don't know. I just think that's an interesting question that maybe we would want to look up at some point. God, me not having glasses is going to really suck. I'm going to be counting on you a lot. I'm just a hot mess today. But anyway, yes, correct. It is A, lay on the table. Okay, now let's see if we're going to be able to do this transition. Hey, we're trans now. Should I call you Michelle? Okay, sorry. This is very politically incorrect. So I'm going to, what I'm trying to do here is now choose a file to get a different background for us. Oh, I see what I need to do. Okay, I need to choose it over here. So you know what I'm doing, this control panel I have. Oh, yeah. But I need to put us, I need to move it here. See, this is what I'm going to need to figure out how to do this automatically. Okay. Oh.
Great. They just did it.
And sometimes I'm going to have to move me around. So, This
You're
again
shifty
is
that way.
yeah. I'm very shifty. This is experimental. I'll make these slides to where it won't come into the area where I have us. I'll just know that for the future. This is a grand experiment that seems like it's working out. So a main motion, and I forgot the colon. You never want to forget the colon. It's really bad if you forget the colon. I also forgot periods.
I think there's a spacing problem there too.
Yeah, and no periods. We can make all kinds of filthy jokes with that, but, it reminds me of a certain not former secretary's minutes where periods were optional. Okay, a main motion. God, I'm being such a catty bitch today.
It wasn't that time of the month, huh?
I am being such a catty bitch. Oh, there must be something like underneath it. Like when spouses fight, not that you and I are fighting, but like when spouses fight and they end up erupting over something stupid and the other person goes, it's not really about that. Like, it's about something else. So there's underlying irritations that I just have in life right now, but I won't take them out on you. You have your wife for that. That's our job. Oh, poor Wayne's up there going, because he's watching, he's going, oh no, she's going to be taking it out on me.
No,
okay.
He's on the phone right. He's on the phone right now with Cabela saying, "Is there a shift I can pick up today?"
Yeah, he actually just got back from work. So, all right, a main motion. A, if adopted, becomes the official recorded statement of an action taken by the assembly. B, may be stated as, quote, I so move, end quote, if a member makes a motion embodying something just said by the chair or another member in informal consideration during a meeting. C, always requires a majority vote, or D, all of the above.
D.
Which one?
D.
B as in boy?
D as in dove.
Oh, D, all of the above.
All of the above.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me see what it is. It is A.
Really?
And I'll tell you
A is
how.
right, but
Well, I know it's not D because B's not right.
oh, okay. We do that informally, but it's not really proper form.
It's not proper. It happens all the time. Or somebody will, this happens in LNC meetings all the time. I'll be speaking in debate and say, I'm not going to make this motion. Or I did this on bylaws all the time as chair because I don't like making a lot of motions as chair. I'd be like, I'm not making this motion, but perhaps you would consider amending it, and I'd state something, and then the next person would go, yeah, I move what she just said. And no, the person actually has to state the motion to make sure it's clear. This happens all the time, but you're not supposed to do that. We tend to be even more that we go, yeah, that emotion. I raise a point of something. Okay, so yeah.
And actually, C would not be true because some incidental main motions have a 2/3. So
Right. I didn't even get that far. I just knew B
yeah.
was wrong. I knew B was wrong. So I didn't even look at C, to be honest with you. Whenever there's an all the above, I immediately look to see if I know one of them is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't read it all the way through. Next.
And I also know, though, with A, we looked at that, maybe not in the show, but we looked at that in that resolution we made at one of those Colorado conventions where someone was trying to appeal to the JC, something that the board never voted on. So it wasn't appealable. Now, I know constructive arguments can be made, such and such, whatever, but there was a resolution passed at convention that interpreted the bylaw.
Right.
And until, anyway, but I know that I think is in that same section. If I remember correctly, is it 1.7? Why is 1.7? Oh, I don't have the new one. I think it's 1.7 for some reason in the new one. Okay.
1-7. Hold on.
I could be wrong.
Hang on. I can get through that pretty quick. Here we go.
And I want to just something.
Talks about a 2/3, but it doesn't talk about. Let's see.
Then I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of the one.
Yeah.
I don't have. I want to address some question because a lot of people think this, and it's not correct. I need to put this down a little lower because of our heretics thing. It says, I thought A was wrong because approving the minutes hasn't happened yet. That is a common misconception. It's just like, think of it like a bylaws amendment goes into effect immediately. We made a bylaws amendment this past national convention. That's maybe not something to talk about right now, but in theory, we made a bylaws amendment this past convention. It went into effect immediately, even though the minutes aren't going to be approved maybe for months. I'm required to produce a draft within 60 days. I have done day 1, day 2, day 3. I haven't assembled all of them into one. I'm going to do that this upcoming weekend because I need some recovery time. I need some me time away from those things. Oh my God, it was so terrible. And then
I had some of that today. So
yeah. And then they have to be posted on the website. Then they get approved. So we could be looking 90 days out. If that were true, I'm pronouncing. You know me and mangling names. If that were true, we wouldn't have a presidential nominee until the minutes were approved. But no, we had a presidential nominee the minute the vote was declared. And a nomination is in effect a motion to put so and so in such and such position. So no, once adopted, it's official. Minutes may never be done. Let me give you another example. They should be, but shit happens. When I became secretary, I was reading through old convention minutes, and the 2006 Portland Massacre minutes weren't yet approved. They were on the website, and it still said draft on them. That didn't make anything that happened at that convention any less official. We did end up approving them because we had to get draft off of them. So I made a motion like in 2020 to approve the 2006 minutes because you can't have a draft like sitting up there.
And everybody closed their mouths going, what? Then they realized nobody ever approved them? Okay.
Yeah, that to me, that is so crazy. And what probably happened is, I don't know if they elected a new secretary that convention, and things can get dropped in between secretaries sometimes because the convention secretary would have been the one to prepare the minutes, and maybe whoever was next didn't. No, I made the motion in 2018, but I want to show you guys something. Let me share my screen here a second. Here they are. Why isn't my screen showing? Primary display. It doesn't. Let's go back here 1 minute. Let me see if it'll let me share my screen. Yeah, but it's showing that thing. Yeah, but let me do. Yeah, we don't want that anymore. We want this. I do want. I'm just going to start a new screen, and now.
Now you had it.
Here we go. So if you see, it says 2006 National Convention, Portland, Oregon. Because it was so unusual, I put this little notation here: approved September 29th, 2018, because I noticed they were still in draft. So. Let's go back to the question. Okay.
There you go. Hey, okay, you got that little black box in the lower left.
Oh, that's because it was. Thank you. That'll fix it. Okay. Perfect. And
Okay, there we go.
I think Sumquatch has a good point, however, where they said, I think I read the sentence to be regarding the record of the action, not the action itself. It's almost like, though, if a tree fell in the forest and there was no one there to hear it, did it make a sound? Yes, it did. And whether or not it was officially recorded in minutes, it still happened. So it is the official recorded statement. That's the way I would look at it. Yeah, I would look at it that way, but I see the ambiguity that Sumquatch is saying. So let me see now if I fix that thing with me having to move the background behind us. I did not. I know how I'm going to have to do this for next time. Give me one sec. Okay.
Oh,
so next, a properly formed motion should A, propose that the assembly refrain from taking an action, B, reaffirm positive action taken previously, C, refrain from allowing delegate instructions to be given, D, be concise, unambiguous, and complete in form.
The correct answer is D. It is not A, because refraining from taking an action, you don't need to make a motion to do that in the first place. That's basically frivolous or dilatory. Reaffirming a positive action, already taken, the same thing, unless there's like a specific emphasis for some apparent unusual reason. That's very rare. Refrain from allowing delegate instructions to be given. Some motions do have delegate instructions given to them. So that one doesn't work, and D makes the most sense anyway.
And B actually came up last term when there were some games being played on the LNC list, and there was some redefinition of the NAP going on. And
I remember
and
that.
I don't mind mentioning names at this point of former LNC members. There's no secret, there's no love lost between me and this individual. Mark Tunevich tried to get us all to reaffirm the membership pledge, every LNC member, and I'm like, no, that's an improper motion. We've already taken the pledge. And I go, plus you're only doing this because you're trying to redefine it. And then he went all over Twitter and said, the secretary and the chair deny the NAP. And yeah, that's when I blocked him.
Which is not what happened. Yeah, that's not what happened anyway.
Right. It was just games.
Deny the NAP. You just refused to reaffirm. You just refuse to reaffirm something already agreed to.
Correct. It's in place until it's repudiated, and plus I wasn't going to play those silly performative games. Silly man.
So is the correct answer D?
It is D. Yes.
Okay.
It's D. Be concise, unambiguous, and complete in form. Okay. Which
is why we have so many problems with them, because nobody knows how to write the damn things.
Yeah, properly formed motions they're very often not properly formed, and I'm guilty of that a lot too.
Well, I think we all are.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna have to, until now that I know how to do it the right way, I don't have it set up the right way now. So when I put the next slide up, I'm gonna have to move it under us. I know the way I got to do it differently next time. I actually have to set them all up individually, which kind of, I know what I can do. Never mind. It won't be as hard as I thought it would. I thought it would have to be different scenes, but it won't. Okay. All right, let me move it below us. All righty. A motion that the assembly refrain from doing something is out of order if the A, membership wishes to make certain that a subordinate body does not take action at a later time. B, motion expresses an opinion as to why no action should be taken. C, motion instructs delegates to refrain from voting. D, motion is equivalent to adopting no motion at all.
Okay. Again, I believe the answer to be D, because refraining from doing something is basically not doing anything. So I believe, and if we already said that a motion that is the equivalent of not doing anything is out of order, so I believe that's the answer. Membership wishes to make certain that a subordinate body doesn't take action at a later time doesn't work, because just because the assembly may refrain from doing something doesn't mean that they can't have somebody like a committee do it. Motion expresses
it's in
opinion as to why
order.
no action should be taken.
So you're saying in A, it's in order.
I'm sorry?
For A, you're saying, because the question was which of these four is out of order. So A would be in order because
No. It's asking for the reason something would be out of order. And I'm saying that A is not a valid reason for it to be out of order.
It's not out of order. A motion that the assembly refrain from doing something is out of order if.
Yeah.
It's not out of. Yeah. So that means it is in
A
order
is not
if
a legitimate. No,
yeah, it is.
No, A is not a legitimate reason to call it out of order.
Right, because it's in order.
Yeah. B is not a legitimate reason because you can have that anyway. C, as it has no effect, but D is the correct answer, because if you're not doing anything by this motion, then there's no point in making the motion in the first place. You're back to where you started.
Mike, how much was it to take the registration fee for the test?
The registration fee for the moment is $400.
Oh, that's more than it was when I did
membership, it. But the NAP membership fee is about another $105 is what I paid for the at-large.
Yeah, and I think my test fee, because remember, I've gotten my RP twice, so I ended up spending like $600, I think, but I think it was around $300 for the 2 times that I took it. Oh boy. Doubly certified.
Yeah, but you got
yes.
a trooper.
Yeah, that was not fun. That was a pretty horrible experience. And talk about amateur hour. So I've now had 2 pretty bad experiences with the National Association of Parliamentarians. Frankly, I think they needed to give a refund to anyone who went through that abysmal schoology thing. That was freaking horrible. And I wrote them, as you know, constantly asking for an update. Oh my God, that was, I'm reliving that now. That was so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
You lost track of how many times you said what's going on with it.
Yeah. And I told you guys, now that test is no longer valid, nobody's taking it, I'm sure it would be perfectly fine for me to discuss this when you're taking the test. You have this oath of secrecy. Let me tell you, this is where I ended up, the way it was is you have to turn in these written assignments, and then you'd get I think it was 3 grades, and 2 out of the 3 had to pass you on a section. You move to the next one. Now, I didn't fail any sections, but on one section, one of the graders, or whatever they called them, dinged me, marked me off, said this is wrong. Let me tell you, the question had something to do with an ambiguous bylaw, and I'm writing an opinion for a client, and it said what kind of advice should you give them? And I had said, also after giving the opinion, that they should, that the society of whatever it was is advised to amend the ambiguous bylaw as soon as is practicable. And I got dinged for that, saying that was wrong. That is straight out of Roberts. It is straight. I was so pissed off. But it's what are you going to do? Complain that they passed you? I mean, it was the only, but still, I was like, that's not wrong. That's like the standard thing you tack onto anything when there's an ambiguous bylaw. You tell them, here's my opinion on it, and this ambiguous bylaw should be amended as soon as is practicable. That should just roll off your tongue.
It's like a boilerplate.
Yeah. Okay, let me move myself out of the... Ooh, I'm just going to go a little lower here.
Hang on. We have a good question in chat.
Okay.
Daniel's asking, is it true that a motion to adjourn is always on the table? And the answer to that is no. It is not true. Because, for example, you cannot adjourn while a motion is pending, unless there's a very specific reason. And that's one of the main fundamental pieces right there. We went through that in the Alabama Convention. I literally was walking up the aisle from the restroom when they made the motion, and I said, Mr. Chair, that's out of order. You can't have a motion to adjourn, sine die, while business is still pending. As I'm walking up the aisle.
So you mean interrupt?
No,
what do you mean by that?
You can't make a motion to adjourn. You can't make a motion to adjourn while there's a motion on the floor while business is pending.
So what you mean by when business is pending is it's actively being considered.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's under it's on like the second page under adjourn.
So I'm not looking at adjourn, I'm looking at the tinted pages end in 11. So what you're answering is it's not in order when another has the floor.
No, no, this specifically says while business is pending under the conditions of either 2 or 3, which the time for adjourning is already established, or 3, when the effect of the motion to adjourn would be dissolve the assembly with no provision for another, like a sine die.
Do you know where it's at in 11?
Yeah, it's on page 234.
God, I didn't bring my glasses. I am such an idiot.
And in 12, it's at 21.3 for those keeping track in the 12th. And no, folks, I am not reading these over while we're doing the questions. I just have them nearby just in case.
When but what I'm trying to get clarity on what you're saying is business being pending. You don't mean, or maybe you do. Let's say there was no motion that was currently being debated and had not yet been voted on. Let's just say there were still items left on the agenda.
Right.
Is a motion
at that point? It is in order.
Okay,
because
that's what I think.
A motion pending on the floor. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I think Daniel was asking, but I'm kind of unclear on his question as well, because he was like, on the table. What does on the table mean? Does it mean in order? Because like on the table, kind of, I think you're using that colloquially, whereas table has like such a specific meaning in Roberts. So yeah, in the middle of a motion, yes. But say you still have 15 things left on the agenda, and you just finished an item, but before you move to the next one, you can move to adjourn sine die.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Which of the... Oh, I lost my...
You just put that one up, and that's what we haven't answered yet.
No, I know. I lost my cursor for a second. I was trying to find it. It went off the screen. Which of the following is a proper main motion? A, that our delegates be given no instructions. B, ordered that the steward obtain impoundment of all unauthorized vehicles. These are some freaking statist things here. C, that the club reaffirm its earlier resolution supporting the celebration of National Parliamentarians' Day. Please, God, tell me that's not a thing. D, that the association go on record as not being in favor of the proposed public bond issue.
Okay. I'm sticking. Okay, first of all, I don't think there's such a thing as National Parliamentarians Day. I hope not.
God, please, I hope not.
Although in this day and age, because there's everything from National Kumquat Day to National Dance Around on a Feather Boa down Main Street, Pride Parade Day, who knows? In any case, B, steward impounding unauthorized vehicles. The libertarian in me says there's no way in hell that that's valid, because what the hell does that even mean? And the parliamentarian in me says it doesn't make any sense either. Delegates be given no instructions. That's the same as not making the motion in the first place, so it's improper. And so I'm going to stick with D, that the association go on record as not being in favor of a proposed issue, because that is taking a position that is not neutral. Therefore, it is not a previous position. Well, okay, it may have been a previous position, but it is not a neutral position, which would have the same as doing nothing.
Funny enough, it says the answer is B.
Oh, horseshit.
So we're going to look at these pages because...
Yeah, we need to.
I would have to tell you, if I was looking at this, I think both B and D are correct. But I want to see why D allegedly is not correct. But I think two of them are. And if I were taking the test, I would have picked B, only because to me that very clearly is an order. I don't understand why you don't think it is. But I don't understand why D's not right either. See, Richard is saying D as well.
Yeah.
But I think B is clearly correct as well.
Yeah, because not being on record is basically the same as being neutral. Being on record as being against something is not the same as being neutral. Or as I like to say, -1 does not equal 0, does not equal 1.
Well, it gives 3 citations, but one of them is just one page going into another. So starting on page 104, starting with line 14, and bleeding over to 105.
104.14. 104.14. And leading over into 105, what?
105.23.
That's it. That's not a citation. That's a whole section.
Yeah.
Let's see. If it's adopted, it becomes the officially worded statement of the action. We've already seen that question. Worded, concise, ambiguous, complete. We've seen that question already. Let's see. To avoid statements such as I so move, etc. Yeah, we talked about that. Reaffirm mistaken are not in order. Right, we already covered that.
Oh, look at 105. I think this is which is a better answer situation. So look at 105, starting with line 8.
Sending a negative statement, even in cases where the effect of the motion is to propose something be done, such members may. Okay, that's just them splitting hairs.
And I think if you look at the question, though, so this will be something for you to look at. What is a proper? So I think they were that was a hint at the beginning that we both kind of missed, where they were really focusing. Remember a few questions ago about properly framed motions? I think that's kind of what they're getting at, that this is worded very awkwardly and confusingly. But so that's why between B and D.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, wait a second. Once I look at it more closely, I see the difference. Okay. Not being in favor of something means not in favor. It does not mean opposed. It could mean neutral. That's what's wrong with that one.
Right. It's not worded well, is what they were getting at.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I see it now. Okay.
Okay. Well, Daniel, Parliament Day isn't quite the same as parliamentarian, and the way we're using it isn't the same as like the public bodies that are called parliaments. It's and
Like
that's kind of the problem when you look up sometimes when you try to search some of these things. And I have like word search on eBay for like certain parliamentary books I'm looking for, and a lot of times in my search results it's like parliamentary opinions, but it's like of some parliament, meaning the government of some place in the world, and that's not the same thing. So today might be World Parliament Day, but that's not the same thing.
I don't think we're celebrating that in Paris right now.
Okay, so we are on. Again, I'm going to have to move it down because I didn't do this right. And I think that's actually a flaw in the program, that it doesn't allow me to put the insert point. That's what she said. Okay.
Is there a way you could template this?
Yeah, I can do it. It's just, this was an experiment. Voting down a motion that would express a particular opinion, A, is not the same as adopting a motion expressing the opposite opinion. B, means that no opinion has been expressed. C, means that a member feels his organization should be silent on the matter. D, all of the above.
Okay, this is trickier. Again, we're back to the -101 thing. If you're voting it down, that is definitely true. That doesn't mean you're expressing an opinion in the opposite direction. It doesn't mean that. We just mentioned that a second ago. It may not necessarily mean that no opinion has been expressed, because there could have been one before and they're flipping it. Could be true. So I'm not so sure about B. C means that a member feels his organization should be silent on the matter. Again, it's the same argument as A. They may be in favor of it, favor of the opposite of that opinion, rather than silence. So I'm going to, and it's because I don't think C is right, I don't think B is right, I know D is not right, so I'm sticking with A.
Okay, this is, hold on, because I didn't put the numbers here. It says D.
What?
Page 105, lines 15 through 20.
Voting down a motion or resolution that would express an opinion is not the same as adopting a motion expressing the opposite opinion. That's what I just said, yes. A member may be in complete agreement with the views contained in this resolution, yet feel that the organization should not speak on the matter, therefore might vote against it. Okay, that could be C, but where in the hell are they getting B out of that?
Well, if it's not the same as adopting a motion expressing the opposite action, and the converse wasn't adopted by default, that means that no opinion has been expressed.
But you don't know if the converse had been previously adopted, and they're trying to flip it. That's my point.
No, I don't think we can assume facts. I think sometimes you and I like start reading like fanfic backstories into these questions that, I mean, sometimes it's warranted, but usually it isn't. What I'm saying is, if A is true, B is true. If you vote it down, it's not the same as saying the opposite. So if you haven't said A and you haven't said B, and those are the only two options, that means you haven't said anything. No opinion has been expressed.
But what if the opinion already has been expressed, and therefore it remains because it wasn't changed? That's what I'm saying.
let's not read a backstory into a motion. Just take it on its face. This is the first time it's come up.
Okay. It doesn't say that in the question. This is why they don't think things out properly in these questions.
I actually think, though, it is in the question, because if they had already expressed the opposite opinion, it wouldn't be a motion expressing an opinion. It would be a motion first to rescind the prior or to amend something previously adopted.
But they're not saying it that way either. They're not saying what
So, because they haven't. I think it's actually in the question that this is a brand new motion because it's not rescinding, it's not amending something previously adopted. So I think that actually is implicit in the question. But anyway, it is.
Yeah, but it needs to be explicit, because the only reason we know that that's what they're talking about is because the topic is main motions. And we knew that in advance. So, in any case, let's get on to the next one.
Okie doke. I'm looking for the numbers. I'm not quick at this yet. And it will be better next time, hopefully. Okay. A motion, quote, that the Assembly support Mr. Jones and next Tuesday's, I need to move closer to the mic, and next Tuesday's election, what? Oh, I need to move you. I can't, you're in my way. Your big ass head is in my way. And next Tuesday's election, oh my God, is being debated. A member who supports Mr. Jones but feels that the Assembly should support no candidate, NOTA, for public office should A, object to consideration of the question, B, move to postpone the question until next month's, I think it had that in there. I know that's correct with the plural. Never mind. I hate apostrophe S after an S. Until next month's business meeting.
Oh.
C, vote against the motion. D, all of the above are correct.
Okay. Okay. A motion to the Assembly to support Mr. Jones in next Tuesday's election. It's being debated. Therefore, you cannot object to consideration of the question because debate has already started. You could postpone the question till next month's business meeting, but that would be out of order because it would have the same effect as killing the proposal because of the timing factor. Because you're talking next Tuesday versus next month. So D can't be right because we know A is not right, and that just leaves simply voting against the motion C.
Yes, that is correct. And all of your reasoning, I think, was completely correct. Yeah, you can't postpone something that would that is in effect just like a motion to postpone indefinitely.
Yeah.
You can't postpone definitely when it has the same effect.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. That's why I was going to say the same thing, but yeah.
All righty. Number 8. Pull that
number
up.
Next.
Well, it's 8 for me. Okay.
Close enough.
The motion quote. What?
I think everybody can see all the wording with where we're positioned.
The motion, quote, that the Assembly oppose the proposed bond issue, end quote, is pending. What should a member do if he favors supporting the bond issue? A, the member should speak and vote against the proposed motion. B, offer an amendment to strike oppose and insert support in the pending motion. C, offer another motion expressing support of the bond issue if the pending motion is defeated. And D, all of the above.
Okay. They certainly could speak against it and vote against it. That's definitely true. They can also offer the amendment to strike oppose and insert support. I believe so. They can also offer, they do not offer another motion expressing support of the bond issue if the pending motion is defeated, because that's just, they can't offer the motion until after it's been disposed of. They can debate and say that they would do that, but they can't make that motion at that point because it's contradictory. And you certainly can't do all three at once because you're only limited to debate twice on one question. I'm going to stick with A just to make sure, because I know that one is definitely correct.
It is D.
Okay, now wait a second. If you switch from oppose to support, I'm looking at B, has the effect of doing the opposite of the original motion. That's still in order, right?
Yes, remember that's what you got hung up on the NAP exam, on the entrance exam.
Okay. And then the other one, offer another motion. Okay, now wait a second. Now that's okay. Here's a wordy question: is offering another motion is the same as making another motion, or are they just saying that they would in debate that they would do that?
It's Daniel has it correct. It's conditional. It says if the pending motion is defeated. Like you could reword this as if the pending motion is defeated, comma, offer another motion expressing support.
Okay. So that'd be after the fact, and not in the middle of it.
Right. It's worded. And you are correct. You could say that in debate. Listen, vote this down, and I'm going to bring a motion to support it.
Yeah. We hear that all the time. That's why I'm asking the question, is it offering a motion in debate, or is it making a motion in debate? Because they're two different things. But yeah. Okay. I can see why it would be D, but again, they got to word it better.
Yeah.
Why is it that these guys who write these questions don't seem to understand how to write questions?
Oh, if I'm getting cranky, my back is killing me, and I don't know why. It's been killing me for a couple of weeks now, but I'm like really uncomfortable at the moment. So if I'm like squirming, I don't have to use the bathroom or anything. TMI, I know. I am just like, and it's not my lower back where it usually is. God, I feel so like such an old lady. I'm going to tell you about all my operations next, young man. It's like sacral, like in that upper curve area. It's really bothering me. Oh, sorry. And I can turn into a cranky bitch when I'm in pain. Poor Wayne, he's watching the show going, she's pissed off about other things she's going to take out on me, and she's in pain, which means she's going to be a cranky bitch. Okay.
You need a massage therapist.
A massage might actually help Wayne, because he offered to give me a massage last night for some other pains that I had that it wasn't going to help. But this one might I'm like in a lot of pain, so I need to do we must increase our bust.
Do what you got to do to help release the tightness and stretch it out and relieve the pain.
Oh, okay. In preparing a written motion or resolution, comma, it is often advisable to A, allow the parliamentarian to write the resolution. B, allow the secretary to write the resolution. While that might often be the case on the LNC, where C, consult with members who can be of assistance in perfecting it. D, allow no one except the secretary to even know about the resolution.
A and B are definitely wrong. D is just hilarious. The answer is C. That's pretty obvious. And by the way, Daniel, they do have an inversion table. I know because I've been in it. But that's another story.
Yeah, we have an inversion table. I don't care for it very much. And this isn't like the kind of pain that feels like it would be helped with that. My lower back one where it's compression definitely does. This is different. I don't know what this is. It's in a totally different place than I normally get back pain. So I am totally doing the funky chicken. Oh, okay.
And besides, inversion tables can be useful for other things besides working kinks out of your back, but that's another story.
It does. Never mind.
And yes, Wayne. Anyway, the Rich and Richard, the questions were written by volunteers. They were written by
I think
Joe
people are
Biden's
learning
interns.
a whole lot more about you than they wanted to know.
That's what she said.
Okay.
What can we say? What can we say? There's a lot of wink, wink, nudge, nudge going on.
Moving on to number 10. Remember, I told you I had 15 lined up this time because I did type them out. And so far, no egregious, I probably said this too quickly, no egregious spelling errors that I saw. I did see some inconsistency in punctuation, but anyway. A.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Wait.
And this is actual wood. And by the way, Wayne, if you're watching, like the plug that's mounted on the back, one half of it's like, it needs to be remounted. Saying that so in case he's watching.
Caryn Ann needs to be remounted.
Oh my God. You know that long power strip that's on the back? It's like, it's hanging on barely. No, it's not A. A preamble. Let's just get started.
There you go.
A preamble, which is placed before the resolving clauses of a resolution. A, should state the background and the reasons for the resolving clauses. B.
There's a typo.
Yep, resolving. Whatever. Resolving, baby. B, should list the arguments for and against the resolution. C, should be specifically mentioned in the motion to adopt the resolution. D, all of the above are correct.
Okay, wait a second. Let me look through this. Preamble, placement, resolving clauses, background, could be true. That doesn't matter. Should list arguments for no. Your arguments are for the resolution. You don't care about what's against it. Should be specifically mentioned in the motion to adopt the resolution. No, because the motion is the resolving clauses don't have to worry about the rest of that. So it's not B, so it ain't D. I don't think it's C, so I'm sticking with A.
It is A, yes.
Yeah.
I think B you can do that, but I don't think you have to.
You can, but why undermine your own case?
But I'm thinking surely in a political context, like if we were doing a resolution, I don't know, against some new tax or whatever, I guess, no, I see what you're saying now. I was thinking of like kind of rebutting your opponent's arguments in it, but that's the argument for, actually. Never mind. I have the dumb. It is A, yes. All right.
I mean, you could list their arguments against and then sarcastically point out how absurd they are, but, well, vote against, whereas resolve it, vote against this means you're a moron. That's no, we don't do that. Anyway.
Okay.
Next.
All right, number 11. In considering a resolution which has a preamble, the preamble is A, amended before the resolving clauses. B, amended. I did resolving again. Resolving, yes. C, amended last. D, not amendable. So it's amended last. You say. And is there a reason for that?
Besides, that's what Robert says. The reasoning on that is that if you have a preamble and you try to amend it first, you will then try to make the resolving clauses match up to the preamble, which can get away with what you're trying to do in the first place. But if you turn around and fix the resolving clauses first, then you adjust the preamble to match. It makes for the resolution to be consistent within itself.
Yeah. I think the logic is you got to know where you're going, and like, okay, this is where we want to go. Now let's put the statements that support that. Yeah. Okay, which I don't think very many people.
That was an easy one.
Yeah, but though I don't think very many people follow that, but that is in fact correct.
Working from the inside, working from the back, working backwards is what it comes down to.
Oh, God, this is, let me see. Yeah. I'm going to need to move your big head. I need to move both of our big heads. Okay. All right, here we go. Which of the following statements is true? in the consideration of a resolution having a preamble. A, the previous question, when ordered before consideration of the preamble, does not apply to debate and amendment of the preamble. And I misspelled the. B, the previous question, when ordered before consideration of the preamble, stops all debate and amendment and brings the resolution to an immediate vote. C, the previous question cannot be ordered until both the resolving clauses and the preamble have been considered. Misspelled that too. You could tell I was getting tired. D, the preamble is always amended first.
I was just reading on this like 2 days ago. And I'm trying to remember what I was reading, because it was a very tricky thing. It's definitely not D. We already know that. So we can eliminate amending it first. The real issue is, where does the previous question factor in terms of the preamble? The question is, does it have to resolve the preamble first? Does it do everything prior to the preamble? Or does it do everything? Yeah. C is asking whether you wait for it till everything's resolved. B is saying stop everything and resolve it, and deal with it. Or A is wait until the preamble still gets addressed even after the preamble. And I want to say, and I could be wrong on this one, because of the weird nature of, because I saw this when dealing with Sari Adams stuff, is where I thought I'd seen this, and because of the nature of the preamble versus the resolutions, I believe the answer is A, but I'm not totally sold on that. I know it's not D. That's a given.
So you're going with A?
I go with A, but I'm not 100% sure of that.
Okay, the answer key says it is A, so you are correct. I would have said B. I did not know
what's
this.
the citation on that one?
Yeah, this is something I did not know. First, there's two citations. First one is 108, lines 20 through 25.
Okay, here we go. When the previous question is ordered on the resolution before the preamble has been considered for amendment, however, the previous question does not apply to the preamble, which becomes open to debate and amendment unless the previous question is then ordered on it also.
I did not know that, but it gives another citation.
I remember. What's the other citation?
202, 28 through 34.
202. That's under previous question, actually.
That is definitely something new I learned. I hope I retain it.
Yeah, so it basically says the same thing as the other citation. Okay. Yeah.
That is interesting that I've never come across this.
That one, when I came across that, I'm like, wait a second, this is different. It kind of makes sense if you think about it in one way, because if you're calling the previous question on the resolutions part, you're saying, okay, are we okay with all these? Because you're voting on those individually separately anyway, and the preamble still goes last anyway. So at the same time, if you're calling all the resolutions, you still haven't even touched the preamble yet. So,
but what if you then end up amending the preamble out of sync with the resolution, the resolving clauses that you've already voted on?
That's why you don't call it on all of them at once, because the preamble could very well be out of sync with what you call in the questions on the resolution parts. You got to get it synced up first.
I know, I get that, but let's say it was pretty good. That's why somebody called the previous question, but it only applies to the resolving clauses. And then some bozos come along and they amend the preamble out of sync, and you've already passed the resolving clauses.
At which point, I would say that you would have to make a point of order that the proposed amendment to the preamble does not sync up with the resolve clauses and therefore is out of order.
But I wonder though, that's why I would think it would be B. It'd be like you do that and the assembly votes to, call the question, then if you don't have it perfected, just vote the shit down. Just don't, vote previous question down, or if previous question gets I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, Daniel had a good question. I am super in pain. Do resolution clauses get voted on individually? No, I don't.
Are we sure about that? Because if they
No.
treat them seriatim, they can be.
I think you have to move to consider it that way. I think there's a specific way of debating them, but I don't think you pass them separately.
Okay, what was the first citation on this? Was it 106 or 108 somewhere in there?
It was 108, 20 through 25.
Well, okay, here we go. Okay, I'm walking back a little ways here. That's specifically use of a preamble. So resolution should be submitted in writing. We knew that. Let's see. Right. Resolution can consist of more than one resolving clause. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Do the preamble later, right? You do too many two whereas it's a pain in the butt. Let's see.
JJ, I don't think Mike gave an opinion yet. So
here we go.
Where is it?
Yeah. 109, 19. Well, not 19. Excuse me. 18. If there is more than one resolving clause, each of them should be a separate paragraph. Unless the paragraphs are numbered in the alternative form described above, each paragraph needs the words resolve, that, blah, blah, blah. Each resolving paragraph goes to semicolon, da, 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 da. The resolving paragraph, that's just all structure. Series of resolution offered by a single mid-motion. A single composite proposal, set forth series separate resolutions, numbered. They can divide the question. Here we go. In the latter case, where the subjects are independent, any resolution in the series must be taken up and voted on separately at the demand of a single member. Such a demand can be made even though another has the floor anytime when a vote has been taken or adopting the series. So what they're saying there is that on demand of the member, you can split them out.
If they're independent questions.
Correct.
Relating to completely different subjects. But you can have multiple...
You could divide it too, so...
But this is an automatic demand of division. So I think what the question Daniel was saying is, let's say they weren't on independent, entirely different subjects, but there were multiple resolved clauses. They don't get voted on individually, I don't believe. I mean, typically, I think this whole thing about when you amend the preamble, when you amend the resolving clauses, that's on debate and amendment, but then it's all voted on as one thing. It's not voted on individually. The amendments are...
I'm checking. So, there it is. I'm trying to find here. Okay. On seriatim. A report or long motion, this is 28. A report or long motion consisting of a series of resolutions, paragraphs, articles, or sections that are not totally separate questions can be considered by opening the different parts to debate and amendment separately without a division of the question. If the chair does not follow such a course of his own accord and the assembly wishes to do so, the procedure can be ordered by adopting a motion to consider by paragraph or consider seriatim.
But that
So
requires a motion.
The chair can also do it on his own.
Right.
Yeah.
But just in general, that's not always the case.
Sure.
That's not the default.
It should be the case, but it's not.
So, like, in general...
But I also understand why they would want to do that. I mean, what if one of the resolutions is so ridiculous that doesn't tie in with the rest of it, or if somebody doesn't like it, they say, we just want to strike that one out completely but leave the rest. Then you would consider them individually. You couldn't just strike all the resolutions.
But without an action of the chair or a motion to consider it that way, there's a certain protocol for amending it, but it isn't as if each section is voted on to adopt separately.
Correct, because you still have to do a vote at the end to adopt the whole thing.
But you don't do interim votes to adopt each paragraph unless it's ordered that way. Either the chair set on their own, sua sponte, in other words, or a motion is made to consider it that way. Otherwise, it's open to amendment in a certain order, but typically it would just be the one vote to adopt.
At the end, yeah.
At the end. Not after each paragraph having to be adopted and then one motion at the end to adopt the whole thing like you would do seriation.
Yeah. To answer Richard Brown's question, the correct answer was A.
And I did
and we're
not
discussing
know that.
Why.
Yeah, I did not know that. I'm going to reread that section. Okay. Number 13. And we are getting close to the end. And let me come down here. I am really going to have to reread that section. Normally, with resolutions, we don't get that technical in the LP. But, all right. The A, whatever, it's not A. The question, the following resolution, it's not supposed to be plural, contains one or more errors in format. The errors occur in which clause? Reading them isn't really, reading them out loud is not going to help. This is one of those ones you have to see. And I'll have to tell you, here's where the heretics are definitely in the temple, at least for me. I think this fussiness on formatting and punctuation and wording of resolutions is completely and absolutely the R word. I hate it. I hate it. I think it is just way too old-fashioned fussy. But anyway,
the polite term you're looking for is relic.
It's like the way
not the impolite term.
Old certain legal pleadings had to be in like this certain really strict form or they get rejected by the court. There was a word for it I can't remember, and that's long since been abandoned. This reminds me of that, and I find it really distasteful. But anyway, if
it please the court, we engage in this pleading for etc. That's the type of thing you're talking about. Okay, so they're saying errors in format here in which clause? Okay, we have 3 whereases and a resolved. I know you haven't read them off yet, but that's okay. Go ahead and read them off, I guess.
Well, we don't need to because this is something you need to see. There's a formatting error.
I
didn't even look up the correct answer because I freaking hate this shit. And every time anyone like on the LNC has a resolution, I have to look this up and I go, let me format it for you properly.
Oh, this is a tough one because there's all sorts of what the heck's here. Um, Contextually speaking, there's nothing wrong with them, but in format, that's a different question. Is there more than one answer to this question? Is the first question?
And
Caryn?
no, there's just one answer, and I messed
Okay,
something
that's
up.
fine.
I messed something up too because again, I didn't have my glasses when I was doing this, so I fucked this up, and I'll tell you also, in my version, in my fucked up version, there's actually 3 right answers because I fucked it up. So let's just go through it. There's supposed to be
You
semicolons.
corrected it as you went.
Yeah. There's supposed to be
Geez.
semicolons at the end of A. It's supposed to be a semicolon. I didn't see that until I'm looking at it now because I
Okay.
didn't have my glasses on. Also in B, before the and is supposed to be a semicolon. However, in C, I typed it correct where they put a comma, and that's supposed to be a semicolon. And that's
Okay.
that's
So-
the error. So the correct answer, if I had typed it correctly, would have been C, where that comma should have been a semicolon. But those other commas were supposed to be semicolons too. So I made it so that the whole thing was done fucked up.
Okay, we'll just throw that one out.
Yeah, but I hate this anyway. And I also think it looks completely ugly that the first letter is capitalized after whereas and after resolve. That is correct according to Roberts, but I hate that. I think that looks fugly as fugly fug.
It does.
I don't
does.
like it at all. And I think this fussiness and format is just, it's form over substance. I don't care for it whatsoever.
My English professors who were nuns with PhDs would have been appalled by that capitalization. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Let's go
here's
next one.
another long one. That's what she said.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can read that. That says subjects. Okay. When a series of independent resolutions or main motions dealing with different subjects is offered in one motion. A, the chair observes the rules of one thing at a time and states each separately for consideration. B, a request for separate consideration cannot be made when another member has the floor. C, the request of a single member allows for one or more of them to be considered separately. D, the motion for a division of, and I fucked up the again, the question is in order.
Okay. If D is correct, C is not, because they're opposed to each other. Because a motion for division requires a second and not just a single member. B, I forget whether that person has to be recognized for that or not. So I'm gonna pass on that one for a second. A, the chair observes the rules of one thing at a time by state. They could do that if you're talking about seriatim, but because seriatim has to do with similar subject, doesn't apply in this case. So it's not A. I'm sticking with division on D.
It is C.
What?
Yeah, when it's independent, dealing with different subjects, the request of a single member allows for one or more. On the demand of a single member, we just read that.
We did?
If it's independent subjects, and we dealt with this both on platform and in bylaws committees. But yeah, on the demand of a single member, if it's truly independent or different subjects, yeah. And let me give you what they're giving as the citation. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's multiple, but let's look at the first one first, which is 110 lines 24 through 27. Because I think that one answers it right there, and it just repeats multiple times.
Okay, I see it there.
You want to read it out loud? I'm sorry, I don't have with me with my down. I
Sure.
need to just keep a pair of glasses out here. I mean, down here.
You keep
'Cause I-
losing all your glasses.
Because I can't see. I just ordered some more. I keep them scattered, but I need to keep a few pairs down here. I should just put
Okay,
them
here's
on,
what it says.
on Mr. Unicorn.
Okay. Sometimes a series of independent resolutions relating to completely different subjects is offered by a single main motion in the same way. In the latter case, where the subjects are independent, any resolution of the series must be taken up and voted on separately at the demand of a single member. That's the quote
Yeah.
right there. It may be made when another person has the floor at any time until the vote has been taken on adopting the series. Okay, there you have it.
Yep. That's one of those weird rules that you just kind of got to know. Just like the one we learned before on resolutions, which I did not know.
So B is clearly not true because they said you can do it when somebody has the floor.
Right.
We already said a single member, which precludes division. I had that flipped.
Right.
And seriatim by the chair doesn't apply because these are not because these are independent, not related. So
Right. And the assembly can choose to not want to divide them, but the way this came up in bylaws is somebody moved for division, and I remember specifically saying you don't have to do that. If you want it divided, you get to have it divided. And I think it was actually Nick Silzelski that had moved for division that time. I'm like remembering it in my mind. Okay, we're on our last one, which is kind of good. Not that I don't enjoy your company. It's just I really am in a lot of pain. Let me get you out of the shadows here. Here we go.
Okay, actually, there we go.
No main motion is in order which A, presents substantially the same question as a motion previously rejected in an earlier session. B, conflicts with a motion previously adopted even though the time of termination of order has expired. C, presents the same question as one that has not been finally disposed of. D, conflicts with the bylaws unless allowed by unanimous vote.
Okay, my first question is, what are they talking about in B about this time of termination of order?
And it should be of the order. I forgot the.
But still, I don't understand what they're talking about there.
Neither do I, but I'm just clarifying that I made it even more confusing.
I mean, I don't even know what that refers to, so I'm
Neither
confused
do I.
on B.
This
Presents the same motion as a question as a motion previously rejected in an earlier session. Because you jumped sessions, that's not true. If it was the same session, yes, that would be out of order. And I know that because I had to deal with that many years ago in California. Presents the same question of one which has not been finally disposed of. I'm not even sure what they're talking about there. Well, conflicts with the bylaws unless allowed by unanimous vote.
This is
the
a
problem
really
with D.
This is a really bad question.
Yeah, I know. But the problem with B is that because the body is the final arbiter of interpretation of their own bylaws, a unanimous vote would be them setting aside them for the purpose of that motion, which would be weird. Because normally a motion cannot conflict with the bylaws. However, I keep falling back to C because if a question has not been finally disposed of, that means it's still pending. And it doesn't make any sense to have another main motion regarding a piece of business that's already currently pending. That's repeating itself, which would be kind of dilatory, which is out of order. So I'm sticking with C.
It is C. And I think the D one is just worded weird because... Yeah, the D is just worded very weird, but C, it is C.
Yeah, because the finally disposed of part, I think, is what is the key there.
Yes. Oh, okay. That is 15 questions. That is all I am good for. Let me go back to our main screen here. Oh, boy. Urgh. Urgh. I'm cleaning up my mess here. All right. I think I'm around next weekend. You're around next weekend, correct?
A 4-day weekend. Yes, I'm around.
All righty. Well, then I guess we will be, back then.
Shall we be back to our regular time next Sunday, or?
Oh, yeah, unless I don't know my work schedule as much as I do now. As you know, I'm doing 1099 independent. Maybe you didn't know. I'm doing 1099 independent contracting work right now. So I don't really have like a set schedule. It's whatever I need to do to get the work done. I have a set schedule a little bit this week because there's training I'm going through. So a lot of things are up in the air depending upon workload. I mean, there's a lot of freedom in being 1099, but there's also, you got to get the stuff done. So I don't really know what my schedule's going to look at until I go through all the training and really grow into the role.
JJ just pointed out correctly, next weekend is the LNC meeting, too.
Oh, we definitely can't then, because not only, never mind then, and I did block that time off from my schedule, so I won't be having to do anything, but, that's correct. And it's so not just...
When you travel?
No, it's not a regular one, it's that monthly e-meeting.
Oh, okay. And that's for the 7th, right?
Yes, the first Sunday of every month, and this is actually a longer one that's normally... set just for 2 hours, but we're doing a 4-hour one this time.
Okay. What about Friday or Saturday?
I don't know. Again, that's going to be a work thing.
Okay.
So
well,
I'll have to. We'll play it by ear. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah, I'd like to try to keep going on, but let's because the 4-week barrier. But let's see if we can flex something on that.
Okay, we'll keep in touch during the week.
A couple of chat order things going on. Richard and somebody else here going on.
Oh, yeah. Richard says, I am using the in-order version of the 1,500 questions. I was not aware that there's a random version. I'd never seen that. That would have been nice when I was studying, but I didn't know there was a random version either. This is the one that I bought from the site when it was still available, but I was not aware of the random version.
Yeah. Just to add to some things, according to the NAT page, there is they have to do this proctored online for the exam. Mm-hmm. They have a thing called Exemplify that you have to download and put on your system, which supposedly isolates it down and makes sure that you don't have any cheat sheets or anything like that around all the usual suspects. But the problem that I might have, and I don't know this yet, I need to check it, is does my system meet the system requirements to do the job? I had a professional certification last month where on one day it actually met the specs, and on the next day it did not. And that drove me insane because that was on a Saturday and the test was supposed to be on a Monday, and I had to reschedule it for after I got back from DC, and I was madder than hell over that. So I got to be careful on that too, but that's one thing I'm going to check in advance. So for people looking to take the exam, these are just some of the possible pratfalls you may have to deal with.
Yeah, at mine, the proctoring had to be in person. It was actually Mark Goddard who was, because he had been an RP. He had let it lapse, but I submitted his name and he got approved to do it. So I had to go to his house in Colorado Springs, and he had to make sure I wasn't cheating.
Yeah, Daniel's right. CompTIA uses Pearson VUE, and Pearson VUE sucks. Then again, CompTIA sucks too, but you have to have the certification for my job, so what do you do? So they forget the world
Okay.
does not revolve. We're on closed book.
All right. Well,
Alrighty.
that is it for today. So hopefully I will see you next week. Okay,
You will.
everyone.
And I still owe you a Tellers report.
Yeah, because next week I am assembling the final minutes.
Yeah. I gotta
Okay.
get it there. So
All right. Bye-bye.
alrighty.
All right. Have a
Night,
good one.
everybody.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in.
Viva! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed? You say nay. Opposed! Opposed! The motion carries anyway.